Hey mama, welcome to your Purpose Pop-In. I'm Danielle and this is your bite-sized boost to reset your mindset, release the chaos, and step back into your day with purpose and peace. Over the next few minutes, we'll get refocused, refreshed, and realigned. So let's get to it. Okay, mamas. So today's Purpose Pop-In is going to be all about grace. I hope you had an amazing Mother's Day weekend. I hope you were celebrated. I had a wonderful Mother's Day. My husband, my kiddos, everybody spoiled me, and I feel very blessed today. And I hope that you do as well. And I'm going to start off with a quote. Start us off with a quote here. Our quote today is a Bible verse. And this one is from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. And it says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." This is a Bible quote today all about grace and how God's grace is sufficient for us and how in our weakness, he can be made strong. And I cling to this verse a lot, but today, especially because guess what, y'all? I forgot to tell you guys happy Mother's Day last week. Okay. I forgot to wish you happy Mother's Day. And I was listening because I always try to listen to the podcast just to make sure. I've had some glitches over the years and just to make sure it got uploaded and everything went well. I always try to listen to it the day of it launching. And so I was listening to it and I got to the end and I was like, I did not even say anything about Mother's Day. And I was like, how did I drop the ball on that, right? How did I drop the ball? What I want to let you know today and what it made me recognize is that, you know what? I can pivot, right? When we drop the ball, we do not lose our worth. Right? When I dropped the ball last week, I was like, oh, you know what? Because I had been sick, right? I was coming off, I don't know, I didn't talk a lot about it on the podcast, but I'm sure you might have been able to catch it in my voice. My voice still doesn't sound right to me yet, but I got like really sick. I think it was like a COVID type of a thing. That was really the only time I've ever been knocked down is when I've had COVID. Otherwise, I usually just get over my sickness pretty quickly. And, you know, I take care of my germs and everything like that. And I get rest and I hydrate and different things like that. But it doesn't slow me down. Like, don't like to admit defeat, right? And so when I dropped the ball in the past, I would have been really upset with myself and started beating myself up. But I wanted to let you know that I don't do that anymore and that you shouldn't either, because we do not lose our worth when we make a mistake. We are still worthy and God's grace is sufficient for you, right? He is made perfect in our weakness. And so when we make a mistake, when we do something wrong, when we do something that requires us to have grace with ourselves or someone else to have grace with us, it is a very good time to remind yourself that God can be made more perfect, right, in our weakness, because we have to lean into him. He doesn't necessarily get better, but we can feel his grace when we accept it, and we are able to accept that when we are weak, he is made strong, and that we can lean into that and feel that. And when I recognized that last week, I kind of got lost in the doing, right? We can get lost in the doing and we can forget to be present. We can forget to do these things that make us our best self, right? Like last week, I probably wasn't being my best self because I did not take the time to wish y'all a happy Mother's Day. And I felt like, oh my gosh, it like hit me right in the heart when I recognized it last week. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And then I'm like, okay, Danielle, you pivot. You give yourself some grace. You know, you have a lot going on and you knew it was Mother's Day week. It wasn't like you did this on purpose. It's not like you completely forgot about them. It's just that you had a moment of weakness. And so I leaned into God. I didn't go to a dark place. I didn't try to, create all this new work for myself by coming up with a new episode and dropping it. I thought about it for like a second. I'm like, oh, I could record another episode and maybe drop it tomorrow. Or I just had to pivot. I had to pivot. And sometimes we have to take an intentional pause, right? And pivot and be kind to ourselves and say, okay, what can I do? How can I make this better? And so this is what I want y'all to do for yourselves. But also I want you to know that I decided, in addition to being kind to myself, I was going to be extra kind to y'all. So I was like, how can I make it up to them? How can I turn this negative into a positive? And I was like, I can make this Mother's Day sale, I can turn it into an end of May sale. And I was thinking about giving you guys a really amazing discount on a coaching session with me and doing it for $27 versus the $47 that it typically is. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that, but I'm going to take it one step further. And I'm also going to offer, if you buy 3 coaching calls with me, you will get those 3 for $97. And y'all, I usually do $47 per call, but if you do 3 coaching calls with me, I will give them to you for $97. So essentially the first call will be $27 and the next 2 would be $35. So $97 versus the $141 it would typically be for 3 calls with me. So these are the prioritization clarity calls that I always talk about. These are when we get really clear about what is important to you and why. We talk about your strengths. We talk about your weaknesses. We talk about what are your core values? What are you prioritizing? What do you want to be prioritizing? And we talk about where you want to go. In 3 calls, there's some homework that goes with it and things like that, but you are going to have a very clear picture after those 3 calls of what is important to you and why. It's what we always talk about. It's that foundation. You are going to have that foundation. After those 3 calls, you're going to have a really strong start on that foundation. You might actually be at the point where you have a foundation built and we can start talking about where you want to go and that path, that true north. You may be able to nail down that true north after the 3 calls if I give you some follow-up homework, or you can continue on with the coaching for sure. I would be happy to do that with you, but I think the 3 calls will give you this foundation. It's kind of the heart of what we always talk about when we're figuring out what is important to us and why. You will get clear on your core values, figure out your priorities. It'll give you this really strong foundation that I believe that you need in order to get to where it is that you want to go. And so I'm so excited about this. And I want to, again, remind you to have grace with yourself, to not get lost in the doing, to remember the being present. You can always pivot, take that intentional pause for yourself and be kind to yourself, right? Offer yourself that grace that you would so kindly offer to others. You need to turn that and offer it to yourself, okay? And I will meet you right back here on Thursday. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right here on Thursday. Keep smiling, y'all.